Now, how to differentiate between an element, a compound, and a mixture? We'll try to understand this with the help of this video. Okay, just go through it carefully, all of you.
We come across various substances in our daily life, such as gold, water, sugar, etc. Through the naked eye, they might seem as if they are composed of a single substance. However, they can be classified as either elements or compounds based on their chemical composition. Let us study this module to learn how to differentiate elements and compounds. In this module, we will learn about elements, compounds. In 1661, the term element was used for the first time by Robert Boyle. Later, a French chemist, Antoine Laurent Lavoisier, for the first time established an experimentally useful definition of an element, according to which an element is a basic form of matter that cannot be broken down into simpler substances by chemical reactions.
Yes, so this is what actually is the definition for an element. An element is a basic form of matter, or an element is a pure substance that cannot be further broken down into simpler substances by any chemical reaction. Okay, by any chemical reactions. We cannot break it into further simpler substances. Even if we try to break it smaller, so smallest piece of that one will be the element of gold only. Just try to understand. Take a gold piece or take an iron rod, cut it into half. Again, the smaller piece, half. Keep on cutting into the smallest possible piece. That piece also will be of iron itself. So this is the physical change, physical test. But chemically, even if you try to do any chemical change, okay, they cannot be further broken down into any simpler substance. Even the smallest part will be the atom of the element, that element, particular element only. So neither with a physical nor by chemical reactions we can get the more simpler substances from an element. So this is what the definition of an element is. An element is a basic form of matter, pure substance that cannot be broken down further into more simpler substances by any chemical reactions.
Now, let's study how elements are further divided. Elements are generally divided into metals, non-metals, and metalloids. Metals are distinguished from non-metals by their physical and chemical properties. Metals are solids at room temperature with the exception of mercury, which is liquid at room temperature. Non-metals exist either as solids or gases.
Okay, these are the physical properties on the basis of which we can differentiate between metals and non-metals. Listen very carefully. Elements are broadly classified into three groups. Basically two. The third one is in between metals and non-metals. That is metalloid. Metalloids are those which show the property of both metals as well as non-metals. And that is what you all have studied last year also. Okay, metals are those elements which generally exist in solid state except mercury that exists in a liquid state. Non-metal exists in all the three physical states. We have solid non-metal also, we have gaseous non-metal also, and we have a liquid non-metal also, that is bromine. Okay, this is the gaseous non-metal. Oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, they are all gaseous non-metal. Carbon, sulfur, phosphorus, Diamond, that is a form of carbon. Graphite, a form of carbon. All these are solid non-metals. Okay, and bromine, as I told you, it is a liquid non-metal. So in this way, on the basis of physical state, they can be classified in this way, differentiated in this way. Just see.
Except bromine, which is a liquid. Metals are lustrous, while non-metals aren't, with the exception of iodine.
Again, there is an exception. Metals are lustrous. Lustrous means they have metallic shine, whereas non-metals are non-lustrous. They are dull in appearance. But we have an exception, iodine. We have an exception, graphite, that is a form of carbon. Moving on to the next property.
Metals can be beaten into thin sheets as they are malleable. Also, since they can be drawn into wires, they are called ductile. Non-metals are neither malleable nor ductile. Did you know that gold is the most ductile element? Unlike non-metals,
Yes, this is another property. Let me just discuss the previous one. Metals are all malleable. Metals are ductile. Malleable means they can be converted into thin sheets. Ductile means they can be converted into thin wires. On the contrary, non-metals are neither malleable nor ductile. Okay, non-metals are brittle in nature. Brittle. Brittle means beating them or hammering them will make them break into smaller pieces. Okay. Now, this property that is being shown over here, that is sonorosity. Metals are sonorous, means they produce sound on being hit, whereas non-metals are non-sonorous. Okay, so just see.
metals generally produce a sound when are hit. Therefore, they are sonorous. Metals conduct heat and electricity.
Metals conduct heat and electricity, means metals are good conductor of heat and electricity. On the other hand, non-metals are bad conductors, insulators of heat and electricity, poor conductors of heat and electricity. But we have an exception there also, graphite. Okay, graphite rod is used in making cells and batteries. Just see there.
Whereas, non-metals are poor conductors of heat and electricity. Did you know that the best conductors of heat are silver and copper? Now, let us move on to metalloids. Metalloids are elements that have intermediate properties between those of metals and non-metals. So far, we have discussed about elements. Now, let us discuss about compounds. A compound is a substance that results from the chemical combination of two or more elements in a fixed proportion.
Yes. Now the difference lies here. An element is a pure substance, okay, which cannot be further broken down into more simpler substance on any chemical reaction. Okay, but we all know that compounds are made up of molecules. Okay, and when we decompose a compound, we'll get the constituent elements that make that compound. And this shows that a compound is a pure substance that results from, that is formed from the chemical combination of two or more elements in a fixed proportion. Okay, two or more elements are chemically combined in fixed ratio to form a compound. Okay, both element and compounds are the pure substance, but there is a difference. Element is made up of atoms of same kind, compounds are made up of molecules of same kind. And how is a molecule formed? A molecule is formed by the chemical combination of two or more atoms of same or different elements in a fixed ratio.
The elements present in a compound lose their original properties and a new substance with different properties is formed.
A simple example is there. Magnesium ribbon is being heated. It burns with a white dazzling light and produce a white powder of magnesium oxide. See, magnesium, the property was completely different. Oxygen, the property was completely different. But when this magnesium oxide is formed, it is again completely different. So that is why an element present in a compound lose their original properties. Okay, so in a compound, or you can say while formation of a compound takes place, a completely new substance with new properties are formed. Okay, just we discussed earlier also that hydrogen gas, highly inflammable, highly explosive, oxygen, supporter of combustion. But when they combine together in a fixed ratio to form water, H2O, okay, what happens? It does not show a single property of hydrogen or oxygen. A completely new substance with new properties are formed. So this is what actually known as a compound. Always remember, a compound does not show the individual properties of the elements present in it. NaCl, sodium, highly reactive metal, chlorine, used as generally a bleaching agent, and when they are combining together, they form sodium chloride, salt that we are using in our daily life, common salt we all are using in our daily life. Okay, so when a compound is formed, a completely new substance with new properties are formed. This is what you have to always remember. Compound does not show the original properties of the elements with which it is formed.
In order to differentiate between mixtures and compounds, let us take a mixture of iron fillings and sulfur powder. The material so obtained is a mixture of the two substances, iron and sulfur.
Yes, now listen very carefully because this is given even in your textbook also, and you all have to perform experiment also from this. Okay, what actually it is? Iron fillings are taken and sulfur powder are taken. Okay, they both are mixed together, and whatever is formed over here is a mixture. It is a mixture of what? Iron filling and sulfur powder. Okay, now this mixture will be divided into two parts. This is a mixture, you can see this is a mixture, and which type of mixture? It is heterogeneous mixture, because we can easily differentiate where is sulfur, where is iron. We can easily see the different substances present over here with our naked eyes. So that is why it's a heterogeneous mixture. Okay, just continue with it.
Over here, the properties of the mixture is same as that of the constituents.
Now in this mixture, here only, if we'll bring a magnet, what will happen? All the iron fillings present over there will get attracted to the magnet, and sulfur will remain as it is. Okay, it means that in a mixture, the substances which are present, the constituents which are present, the components which are present show their original properties. Okay, just see.
Also, the substances present in it can be separated easily by physical methods. However, when the mixture is heated,
See what is being done. Listen very carefully. Physically, okay, they are all are showing their individual property. But when the mixture is heated strongly, then a chemical reaction took place. And after taking place of a chemical reaction, iron sulfide is formed. FeS, iron sulfide, which is a compound. Okay.
strongly, a new compound, iron sulfide, is formed. The substances present in the mixture reacted chemically to form a new compound of a fixed composition, whose properties are different from its constituents. Unlike a mixture, a compound is broken down into its constituents by chemical or electrochemical reactions. Now,
Yes. So what actually is being told, that once a compound is formed, the compound does not show the individual properties of the elements with which it is formed. Okay, the elements with which it is formed. So this is what actually I wanted to discuss regarding element and compound. Theoretically, we have already discussed in the previous class. Now, I just try to explain it with the help of this video. Now, moving on to the next one, actually, what I wanted you all to know is mixture. What actually the mixture is. Okay, and we'll be discussing about mixture and different types of mixture today again.
we always wish to buy pure milk, ghee, juices from the market. Pure is healthy. Generally, pure means without any adulteration. But scientifically speaking,
See what is being told just now, that pure. Pure means always completely pure without any mixing, without any adulteration. The word is being simplified. Element and compound, they are pure substance. Okay, but the milk that we are purchasing from the market, that is not a pure substance. How it is not a pure substance? Because it is made up of, just see what is being told here.
milk cannot be pure. Do you know why? It is because milk is a mixture of different substances like water, fats, proteins, etc.
I think it is clear to everyone. Milk is a mixture of different substances. It contains water, but again remember, the different components of milk cannot be seen with the naked eyes. So what type of mixture? It cannot be seen with the naked eyes. Okay, but actually it is a colloidal solution. Colloidal means what? It is a heterogeneous, cannot be seen with the naked eyes, but we can see it under microscope. Okay, it's a type of milk, is a heterogeneous mixture. Okay, on the other hand, air is a homogeneous mixture. On the other hand, sugar in water is a homogeneous mixture. Okay, so basically this topic will deal with, under this topic we will be differentiating between homogeneous and heterogeneous mixture.
Other examples of mixtures are lemon juice, as it consists of lemon mixed with water. Aerated drinks, which consist of carbon dioxide gas and water. The mixtures can be broadly classified into heterogeneous and homogeneous mixture.
Yes, first of all, try to understand mixture. Mixture means it is an impure substance. The components present in a mixture are not chemically combined. See the difference. The components of a mixture are not chemically combined, whereas the components of a compound are chemically combined in a fixed ratio. Okay, that is what the difference between compound and mixture. Now, when we talk about mixture, okay, mixture is classified into two types, that is heterogeneous mixture and homogeneous mixture. Okay, heterogeneous, where is visible, where there is a visible boundary, where we can separate the components with our naked eyes, where there is distinguished boundaries, where the particles, where the substances can be seen with the naked eyes, where there is no uniform distribution. Okay, all these are, you can say, the characteristic of heterogeneous mixture. But on the other hand, homogeneous means no distinguished boundaries. Okay, homogeneous means we cannot see the components with the naked eyes. Homogeneous means there is a uniform distribution. Uniform distribution. Now we'll try to differentiate between these homogeneous and heterogeneous with the help of certain examples. Okay, so go through it carefully.
The homogeneous
Heterogeneous mixture is a mixture where the components that make up the mixture are uniformly distributed. For example, lemonade tastes the same throughout.
Okay, when lemon is mixed in water, stirred properly throughout the solution, the taste will remain the same. It means it is homogeneous. The properties throughout it remains the same. It's not that at the top we'll get some different taste and afterwards we'll get some different taste. No. Okay, same way, sugar solution. You make sugar solution. The taste will remain as it is throughout. Same throughout. Okay, so that is what homogeneous. We cannot differentiate the lemon particles and water particles over here. Same way in sugar solution, we cannot separate the sugar particles and water particles with our naked eyes. We cannot distinguish between them. In air, nitrogen, oxygen, so many gases are present. We cannot differentiate where there is oxygen, where there is carbon dioxide, where there is nitrogen or any other gas. We cannot. So that is what all these are called, homogeneous mixture.
On the other hand, heterogeneous mixture is a mixture where the components of the mixture are not uniform or have localized regions with different properties.
See how beautifully it has been explained. Many different substances are taken together and they are mixed. Okay. Now if you will take from here and try to eat it, what will happen? The different substance will show different tastes. So in a mixture, the components show their individual properties, that is there, but they all are not at all uniformly mixed. And we can see easily, very easily, we can see that which substances are present and which substances are there present in this mixture, and they all are showing their properties also, and they all can be seen with the naked eyes. They all can be differentiated with our naked eyes. So that is the difference between homogeneous and heterogeneous.
For example, muddy water solutions are homogeneous mixtures, while suspensions and colloids are heterogeneous mixtures.
Okay, now
in this module, we will learn
now what actually is being told over here, that colloids and suspension are heterogeneous, okay, and solution is homogeneous mixture. See here, solution, it is homogeneous. Sugar solution, lemonade, homogeneous, whereas suspension and colloid are the two different types of heterogeneous mixture. Suspension, okay, muddy water, suspension, many examples are there. Chalk powder in water, okay, sand in water, suspension. And colloid, when we talk about milk, where see colloid lies in between solution and suspension, because colloid actually looks like homogeneous. Colloids look like homogeneous but is heterogeneous in nature. Okay, but is actually heterogeneous in nature. So very carefully we have to discuss, and in the next period we will be discussing about solution, suspension and colloid in details with all the properties.